By the end of this video, you will have a clear understanding of the key elements to quickly learn any track and become fast in just 10 minutes. I'll break down the crucial aspects of racing that will help you to become faster on any circuit with basically any car. And GT7 is about precision and strategy, but most of all, knowing these ins and outs of any track will eventually help you to understand what it takes to be fast. And one note, these techniques are practical, they are doable, and they will eventually get your lap times down. So let's begin. Braking points are key to racing. They establish where you start to brake and hit the turn just about right. Missing your spot can mean getting the wrong turning point and eventually losing time. But how can you actually identify these points? Look for signs, cones, or even distinct tire marks on the road, and you will eventually get your lap times down. For example, a 100-meter board may indicate a signal to start braking. Just always ensure that you're using reliable markers that don't change. Like in this example where I'm using the Carp to start braking, you might as well use the 100-meter sign, but someone can eventually take it out. So here we're using the full potential of the track, and then we're reaching the right side, and you can see that there is another reference on the right where I'm just tapping the brakes, and again upshifting into third gear on the way out using the full potential of this track, and then again looking at another reference, which is this transition right in front. And all of a sudden I am consistent with my braking points and I can consistently get through this section. And next time you're on the track, pay attention and look for these markers. Hitting your braking points is not only going to be able to move your lap times, well, sometimes even a second down, but will eventually help you to smoothen out and kind of control your driving even better. If you would like to know more about racing and how you can improve your pace, I created a specific online course that will eventually help you to build your pace and become faster over time. The link is in the description, and if you made it this far in the video, you can use this coupon to get a 15% discount. And you probably all heard about this, but this is one of the most common mistakes in racing. It's very necessary through the corners to use the full width of the track. This will allow cleaner entry into the turns and eventually avoid understeer or oversteer in and out of the turns. So how can you eventually get it done right? As you approach the turn, stay at the edge of the track. This will give you a greater angle and room that it's needed for, well, the most difficult part of the corner, and that is the apex. Gradually move from the opposite side of the track to the apex and then to the edge of the circuit once again. The more track you can use, the more speed you carry throughout each section. But the only problem is that most people start turning way too soon and use the full width of the track not at the right moment. I've seen many examples of this, and I need to point out that we all need to start turning exactly at a specific point without changing it. Turning too soon can impact the racing line and speed throughout the corner, so pay attention to this. Pay attention where the top guys are turning in and try to improve on this. I've seen so many examples and I only can tell you this can significantly impact your lines. And now about racing lines. Racing lines are paths through the corner that allow you to maintain the best possible speed throughout the section. Start turning in at the edge of the circuit, hit the apex and exit wide to find the right racing line. This technique ensures that you can take the corner at the highest possible speed and optimize your speed throughout the whole section, not only corner. So always think about sections and not corners. And I think this is a perfect example where you can see something like this. I will sacrifice a bit of speed on the way into this corner to get a little bit more speed on the way out of this whole section. So you can see I'm losing time at this point, but as soon as I get up to the second point in this whole section, I am once again gaining time, and now the whole section is starting to be worth it. So pay attention where exactly the best guys turn in. Understanding racing lines is something that we all need to take into account. So you need to find the best possible line throughout the corner and to use the optimal lines through each section. Start turning in at the edge of the track, hit the apex and exit wide to find the perfect racing line. This technique ensures that you take the corner at the best and optimal speed. In general, I like to always point out that don't artificially go wider. Make the car go wide on its own just by carrying more speed into the corner. And practice, practice, practice. And over time, just by watching and analyzing your own driving, you will eventually find those mistakes. And if you compare your lap times and analyze them even further, you will be able to find mistakes and eventually build speed throughout each section. The turning points are where the turning into the corner is initiated. Good turning points can lead to hitting the apex and holding continuous speed down through the section of the track, which again is a significant benefit over one lap and can build a serious difference over a longer period of time. Turning in points should be marked with fixed markers, just like braking points. It could be a point on the curb, it could be a change in the track surface, it's basically anything. So make sure that you hit the exact turning point each time you start turning, over and over again, which again is going to significantly improve your consistency. Aim to identify and hit your turning points in a continuous way during practice. This reduces the margin for error and eventually makes your driving more predictable and much smoother. So how much braking pressure you actually need? It's essential to know how much braking pressure you have to apply. Too much would mean a significant reduction in your speed, while too little can make you overshoot the turn. For high-speed sections, it may be necessary to apply the brakes only partially, carrying more speed and therefore not stopping the car more than it's actually needed. On the other hand, full braking can be applied while we have a heavy braking zone that requires the car to significantly reduce the speed before starting the turn. And of course, we need to adapt to a certain car, and of course this is a high downforce SF23, so I'm not going to stay on 100% of the brakes for too long. I'm going to use the downforce and trail brake just a little bit. So this allows me to carry more speed through this whole section, and as you can see, I'm still using the downforce, still using the speed, and eventually I can get through the corner and through the section a lot faster. Track limits are there to define the bounds of the track. The trick is to drive as quickly as possible while staying within those limits. I know this part can be tricky, but we have to carefully navigate through the section without getting a penalty. And we need to address these points as best as we possibly can. Each track is different, and I know it's quite difficult, but we need to understand and we need to push the limits of each track because it can significantly impact your lap times. Knowing where you're able to push the limits without penalties is critical to maintain speed and consistency. So learn the track limits for every circuit and practice in area overhung by corners and runoff areas, which usually is quite weird. It will make you push without breaking the regulations, and you will eventually see a huge impact in your lap times. Like in many examples, I know the turn 1 at Red Bull Ring is probably not the best one. As you can see, I'm pushing all the way to the limit of the track, but I'm still keeping one of my tires on the curb or within the white lines. As you can see here, the tires are staying under the curb. I can push to the limits of the track, and then we probably all know this famous area, and finally I can get this one done without getting a penalty.
No way. Oh yeah, way. There we go.
Beyond the apparent braking and turning points, look for other references points that will maintain the outer consistency. For example, like shadows, patches on the track, perhaps even trees and buildings that you can look for. And I'm always trying to find something that is reliable and not something that is moving or easily can be taken out. And of course, if you enjoyed in this video, please remember to subscribe to the channel, potentially even giving it a like. And if you would like to know more about braking, you can always have a look at one of my videos in one of these corners. So once again, thank you very much for watching, and until the next time, bye.